Chapter 44, Invincibility. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Zhang Yuochen's first opponent was a young warrior in yellow. He seemed nearly 20 years old and was at the medium state of the yellow realm. He could be considered as a genius of martial arts since he had practiced to the medium state at such an early age. The young warrior in yellow held a broadsword, and said in a loud voice, "Hao Shiki from the house, I am the first to challenge you. Please draw your sword." Zhang Yuochen gripped the hilt of the flash-shining sword with his right hand, shook his head, and said, "I don't need my sword to defeat you. If I draw it out, you may get hurt." Arrogant. The young warrior in yellow poured his genuine chi into the broadsword to activate two inscriptions of power within it. The weight of the broadsword increased to 143.5 kilograms. He held the broadsword with both hands, brandishing it, and rushed toward Zhang Yuochen. With his momentum, even a warrior at the final state of the yellow realm would not dare to confront him directly. Boom! Zhang Yuochen was completely still. With a wave of his arm, the scabbard cleaved at the young warrior's neck. Ding! The broadsword clattered to the ground. The young warrior in yellow screamed, and fell from the Colosseum, out of his bearings. He covered his neck, returning to the Colosseum to pick his broadsword up. He glanced at Zhang Yuochen respectfully, and said, "Thank you for not killing me." He was quite lucky that Zhang Yuochen had hit him with the scabbard, or his head would not be on his neck anymore. Round 2, 1. Round 3, 1. Round 4, 1. Zhang Yuochen won 3 consecutive matches. He stood in the center of the Colosseum as steady as rock, never moving his feet at all. Whoever challenged him was struck down from the Colosseum with the same movement, no matter what cultivation they had reached. How could the boy be so powerful? Even Liu Oten, whose cultivation is at the final state of the yellow realm, was defenseless against that scabbard strike. A 16-year-old noble girl stared at Zhang Yuochen curiously. Zhang Yuochen was too young and had such great strength. Warriors at the final state of the yellow realm were unable to force him backward a step, let alone make him draw his sword. He must have practiced the sword comprehension to the realm of sword following the mind. Unless the challenger can deal with his sword comprehension, will be struck down from the Colosseum by him with only one move. Zhu Bingxing brandished the fan in his hand, smiled and said, "Ha ha. Don't you know who he is?" "Do you know?" many people asked. Zhu Bingxing said, "He is the 9th prince of Yunwu Commandery. He could beat the geniuses at the final state with the cultivation of the beginning state and the year-end assessment. According to his practice speed, he must have reached the medium state by now. Unless warriors at the completion of the yellow realm challenge him, nobody can beat him. Ha ha. So it's the 9th prince, the famous genius of martial arts. Let me challenge him." A bald man kicked off of the grandstand while holding 2 hammers and covered a distance of 10 meters before falling on the Colosseum. "The 9th prince, I go see high, will fight you for round 5. You should be careful. My hammers weigh 400 kilograms. Even a man made of iron will be crushed if he gets hit," said Go Sihai. Warriors who could gain 5 repeated victories in the Yellow Fighting Palace were almost all at the completion of the Yellow Realm. Only a few geniuses were at the final state of the Yellow Realm. Go Sihai was a warrior at the completion of the Yellow Realm. He was 1.85 meters, whose arms were wider than Zhang Yuochen's thighs and his body was full of palm-sized muscles. Go Sihai was born with amazing power. He can burst out with the power of 30 bulls in the completion of the Yellow Realm. Maybe the 9th prince will lose. Hearing the discussion of the crowd, the 9th commandery princess started to worry. After all, it was a warrior at the completion. A warrior in the completion and a warrior at the final state were not at the same level at all. "Ow!" Go Sihai roared, and his bones popped. He swung the 2 hammers with his arms like a windmill, emitting gusts. Wild hammer. Go Sihai struck out with all his power, using a martial technique of the inferior class in the human stage. He swung the 2 hammers at Zhang Yuochen concurrently. A hammer aimed at Zhang Yuochen's head, and the other at his legs. Under such wild attack, Zhang Yuochen would have needed to step back even if his cultivation was stronger. Once Zhang Yuochen stepped back, he would continue to pressure Zhang Yuochen with his following movements and beat Zhang Yuochen with a thunderbolt-like momentum. Bang! Zhang Yuochen just cleaved with his scabbard just as before, slamming into one hammer. The hammer changed direction immediately, crashing into Go Sihai's chest. Boom! Go Sihai fell down from the Colosseum with his two hammers. How can that be? Go Sihai covered his bloody chest and climbed up from the ground with great difficulty. He stared at Zhang Yuochen, who was standing straight in the center of the Colosseum. He did not see how Zhang Yuochen waved his scabbard at all. All he knew was that he was struck down from the Colosseum by his own hammer. Even Go Sihai couldn't force him to draw his sword. How could he be that powerful? Zhu Bingxing seemed a bit more serious, and said, "The ninth prince's sword comprehension is at least at the intermediate stage of the realm of sword following the mind. Maybe it is already in the advanced stage." Impossible. Even for warriors of the Black Realm, only a few can train to the advanced stage of sword following the mind realm. Zhu Bingxing smiled a little and said, "Let's see. It's only round 5 now. The following warriors will be more powerful as it continues. Eventually, someone will find his weakness. If he lasts to round 8, I will go to the Colosseum to beat him myself." At this moment, the 9th Commandery Princess and Shan Xiangling were very shocked as well. They didn't expect that Zhang Yuochen was that strong. He beat a warrior at the completion of the Yellow Realm with just one move. Could my 9th brother's cultivation have broken through to the final state of the Yellow Realm? The 9th Commandery Princess said, "It must be the final state of the Yellow Realm." How long ago was the year-end assessment? The 9th Prince's cultivation has progressed 2 levels since then. That is incredible. Shan Xiangling said. She would not be able to believe that there was such an incredible man in the world if she had not witnessed it. Another warrior at the completion of the Yellow Realm went up to the Colosseum. It was a woman in her 20s in an indigo robe. She also used a sword. The woman in the indigo robe stood across from Zhang Yuochen, watching his every movement carefully, searching for a flaw. There are no flaws at all. I have to force him to reveal one. Crash. The woman in indigo robe moved fast as a lightning with special footwork. She attacked Zhang Yuochen's legs with a fish intestine rapier. Even if she was unable to defeat Zhang Yuochen, it would count as an achievement if she could force him to move. Once he moved, he would show flaws. Beating him became much easier. Zhang Yuochen finally seemed serious. The indigo-robed woman's sword technique was quite sharp. It had reached the realm of sword following the mind. Although she was just at the initial stage, she was much more powerful than the other warriors at the completion of the Yellow Realm. Zhang Yuochen closed his eyes, only using his ears to catch the sound of the sword breaking air. Ding! He waved the scabbard, aiming at the space between them. He parried woman's attack down to his legs. The woman was a little stunned, but she changed her movements quickly. She used 3 sword techniques in a row, yet each one was accurately blocked by Zhang Yuochen. There was a dong when she was about to start the 4th movement. She felt a sharp pain in her chest and a rib of her seemed broken. Zhang Yuochen pointed the scabbard at the female's chest and said mildly, "You lose." The scabbard had once again saved a life. If it were the point, her heart would have been punctured. The woman sheathed her fish intestines rapier, made an obeisance to Zhang Yuochen by cupping one hand in the other before her chest, and said, "No wonder the 9th Prince is the genius of martial arts. I admit your superiority." Another warrior at the completion of the Yellow Realm had lost without forcing the 9th Prince to retreat. Damn it. He is only 16, but his martial cultivation was that high. I can't let him live. Absolutely not. Liu Chengfeng was very angry. He said to a royal guard standing behind him, "Go get Han Fu. Tell him it's the time." Copy that. The royal guard rushed off at once. Liu Chengfeng stared at Shan Xiangling, who was standing at the bleacher below. A filthy smile appeared as he said, "Shan Xiangling, I'll see who can save you when Zhang Yuochen dies in the Colosseum." Ha ha. Due to Zhang Yuochen's incredible performance, the entire Yellow Fighting Palace cheered upwards loudly. Finally, Zhang Yuochen met his 7th challenger. Hong Tao, whose cultivation was at the completion of the Yellow Realm, had developed an ice of profound sacred mark. He gained a record of 7 consecutive victories 4 times in the Yellow Fighting Palace. In addition, he also had reached the initial stage of the following the mind realm. But he used a whip instead of a sword. Whip followed the mind. I, Hong Tao, greets the 9th Prince. I hope the 9th Prince will forgive me if I offend your excellency later. Hong Tao seemed refined and courteous. There was always a smile on his face, but his eyes were sharp. Hong Tao touched his wrist gently and uncoiled a long golden whip. The golden whip was 13 meters long, only the width of a little finger wide. It seemed like a genuine martial arm made of some savage beast. Normal people couldn't even swing the long whip properly. Bang! Hong Tao shook his arm, making the golden long whip flail immediately. It coiled around his body like a flexible spiritual snake, radiating golden lights.